in Indiana, like we're used to rain and snow. It doesn't bother us like, really as drivers, but here, the only reason I get worried is because I know Virginia drivers freak out in rain, let alone like
Yeah.
snow. Half the people have never driven in snow.
Oh gosh. Terrifying to be out on the roads.
Buddy told me a story. He said he was talking to some civilian lady,
Hmm.
um, and she was like, "Yeah, it's raining pretty good today. Like I almost didn't come into work because of it." I was like, "That is crazy." Can you imagine
That's
like in
crazy.
Indiana telling someone, "Hey, I won't be into work because it's raining today"?
Comical.
Fire.
Actually comical.
Ah,
But how have you been? How have you been, buddy?
good man. I feel like we both have a good amount to catch up on. Things are moving high for both of us. I got into Michigan. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one or whatever order we're doing.
Yeah.
So got into Michigan.
Woo!
So big. Big. Definitely one of my top choices. Visiting at some point in the next few weeks. See how that goes.
Yeah.
My parents were talking about like, oh, it's the weather and also like, don't you want to go to these other schools? But I'm like, it's a nice area from what I've heard, and it's
Hmm.
close to home, and like the culture is nice and everything too. So like a lot of good things.
Yeah. I mean, cold. I mean, if you're in Indiana, it's 3 hours north, so you'll be okay. You'll
We're
survive.
I mean, I'll have to acclimate again because my body's been used to Virginia weather for the past 3 years, but
Hmm.
yeah, it'll be a little process. But I also yesterday I had a Harvard interview.
Oh,
So
you had the interview?
yeah, I had that
Oh,
last night at like 5.
let's go. How'd that go?
It was good. I mean, obviously this is a one-sided assessment, but I
Hmm.
think if they were already like a 50-50 on taking me, I think the interview sealed it. I think it was a positive
Okay.
a positive uh,
Good.
impression because he asked me about Indiana, and thankfully, I'm not. I mean, I know neither of us are really football like sports guys, like follow the scene.
I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing the hat
Yeah,
right now. Big Ten
luckily,
champs. Woo!
the only reason I knew about any football thing was because I went to IU.
Yeah.
So he asked about like, oh, sell me Indiana, all this. I was like, and then I brought up the Big Ten thing, and apparently he's a football guy. So
Okay.
big win for me.
And that sold him. Luck of the draw there. Luck of the freaking draw. Indiana has a good football team.
I think I'm really. I mean, one, luck of the draw on Indiana being good. Like two,
Yeah.
luck of the draw also on a just. I think I was talking to Drew about this, but like I need to know just enough sports, like
Mhm.
to be able to bring it up and to because some people are just so into it. Like I think it's a nice little piece that like helps your relationship with people just most of the time. Like unless
Mhm.
you're one of those people that like incessantly talks about it, but most of the time I think it's just a benefit.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I would always try to make sure like I knew who won the Super Bowl and I knew like maybe the quarterbacks' names for each team. That was like my
No,
big thing. I was like, yeah,
and that gets you so far because, like, even me as somebody that, like, consistently watches IU football, not consistent. I mean, I have been since, they've been doing well or I've been keeping up to date. My general football knowledge when it comes to IU is I know the quarterback, I know the head coach, and I know their record. Those are the 3 things that I know, and it's enough to start a conversation. And then if you generally have some, like, outside knowledge of, like, who are what are some of the other teams doing this year? Are they pretty good? Are they pretty bad? And then you can kinda have some banter from there.
yeah. The problem is they lose me a little bit when they start talking about the other teams and like what's going on next. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Like that's where my BS skills have to come in. Luckily, I'm pretty good
Yeah.
at that. Unfortunately, though, my like when it comes to sports, you can't really
Mhm.
BS it if you don't know like the names of certain people or like which team is
Mhm.
doing how well. But I'm
Mhm.
just like I just bring up like, oh, like IU Big Ten champs, my alma mater, and then I just let them
Yeah.
carry the conversation. Just let them talk after that.
Yeah. Let them talk, exactly. You gotta let your interviewers talk because, like, I don't know. That's life hack number 1. If you're sitting in an interview and you start asking questions and you catch them starting to talk more than you would normally talk, you're in. You sold them.
Yeah, I was able to get that point, so I feel pretty good about it. I felt a little goofy I wore a full suit, bottom and
Yeah.
everything. I was like,
Yeah.
'cause originally I was just gonna wear a dress shirt, and then I talked to Derek, and he was like, "It's
No.
Harvard, it's formal or whatever." I looked it up, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a formal interview." It didn't say anything about dress code, but I was like, "Just to be safe, I'm gonna wear a suit and tie, everything." And the interviewer's
Mhm.
in a suit, so also good. Good on my part.
Also, think about the profession that you're going into. You'll be showing up to court in what?
Yeah, but, like, my thought process is, like, it's a Zoom interview. That's the thing. If it was in person, 100%, I'm showing up in
Oh,
a suit.
wait, I forgot. Yeah, 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 yeah. You wore the bottoms too?
Yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
just in case, they were like, "Hey, can you stand up real quick?" It doesn't hurt, like, it's a 20-minute interview.
Yeah.
It's more risk than more reward than risk at that point. Um,
Yeah, yeah, you don't want that, like, thought being in the back of your brain where you're just, like, stressing. You're like, "Hopefully, they don't have me stand up," or, "Hopefully, I turn my camera on at the right time," and they see if yeah, if imagine if they caught you in your underwear. That's
no,
an auto out right
I
there.
would've been fully nude. I don't wear underwear at home. I'm fully nude right now, from the bottom
I
down.
feel bad for I feel bad for your roommates.
Fine, they enjoy the view. Um, yeah, so, that went pretty well. What do you think? For a Zoom interview? Okay, so you think that, like, typically you would
Mhm.
still wear a suit for a Zoom interview? Let's say you were interviewing for well, yours is different. PT, like, I feel like you definitely don't need a suit.
No, like, yeah, no. You walk into a like, because we're in such high demand, you essentially walk into a clinic and you're just like they offer you the job as soon as you walk in. They're like, "Oh, you've got your license? Cool. Do you want a job here?" And you could be wearing shorts that day.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's not on my it's not on my future, at least for the next 5, 10 years, but
Yeah, it's fine. It's got
maybe
its
I'll
pros
start
and
my own
cons.
firm and all the lawyers will gym
Tanks.
clothes. They'll all
Tanks
dress
for
like I did in college.
sure. Homeless. Shirts that are 5 years old or
Yeah,
older.
high school football game shirts that are, cut down to my hips. Yeah, I think I'll wear that for the next interview. Yeah.
But no, that's good because, of the few legit Zoom interviews that I've had, most of the time, I don't get a good feeling off of a Zoom interview. I feel like my personality doesn't really, like, come through as well as it should. So, like, if you're walking away from a Zoom interview and you're feeling pretty good, then you probably did well.
Look, you're making us seem bad, dude. We do a podcast, and you don't feel good from online
No, I
interviews.
feel
That's all
terrible.
this is.
Dude, I feel terrible. No, but this was a lot of the interviews that I did were before we started podcasting virtually together. So, like, my job interview, I didn't go online. I showed up in person. Uh, yeah.
I definitely prefer
But
in person's so much easier. Like, I mean, me and you, I think, have gotten good at it just because we've been able to like read each other's body language through a screen. So like,
mhm,
I'm a lot better now than I would have been, like you said, in college or a few years ago. But
mhm.
like, yeah, maybe that just made me realize maybe we're not on the spectrum. We can read body language really well.
You can. I'm just I'm just looking at your mic the entire time. I'm not even looking into your eyes.
There's other ways to be on the spectrum. I think we're both there.
Oh, but though that's awesome. Did they tell you when you would hear back?
Yeah, second week of January supposedly is the first wave. So
Okay.
around then, I think around then, I think I'll make a decision by February. If I don't hear like from one of them, like I'm just gonna commit um
Mhm,
to Michigan at that rate because like Michigan is like up there outside of if I get this one, I think, like we talked about, I think I just have to take it. Um,
mhm.
kind of something I can bring up later after we catch up on you. Like just the prestige. It's not even for like some of it's for me, but sometimes you got those expectations from other people.
Mhm.
And it's like I feel like the prestige is more for them. But like I feel like that's just how life is sometimes. Like
It would
sometimes
also
you
be
have
for
to do
you.
things for other people.
It would also be for you. Come on.
Yeah, I mean it comes back in the end. Like dude, I called my parents about it. I was like, yeah, I got a Harvard interview, everything. And like my dad was already saying like, oh, like I can't wait to like brag to all the other Chinese families about it.
That's so funny. That's actually awesome. What are the other Ivy leagues that you applied to?
I applied to like 9. I applied to so actually the Ivy Leagues don't usually land in the top law schools. It's actually I
Oh,
applied to 9 of the top 14. It's U Chicago, Northwestern, Michigan, UVA, Duke, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, um, and then there's like NYU, Columbia, um, Cornell, things like that. But I'm not a New York
Mhm.
guy, as we talked about with Nicola, so
Yeah.
did not apply to those. But
So of the 3 big Ivy Leagues, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, is Harvard number 1 for you?
so it is for me.
Okay.
I honestly think I would take Michigan over Yale. I think, and like
Mhm,
maybe even over Stanford. I think
mhm.
one, like the location, but two, also the reason. So Harvard's actually not. I think they ranked like sixth or something this year. So
Yeah.
like Yale and Stanford are actually ranked the highest. Yale number one, but like part of it is just the labor stage outside of like the future field. Because like no one knows, for example, that Michigan's top 10. It's a top 10 law school, or UVA is
Yeah.
number four,
I
right?
had no clue. I had no
So like
clue. Like, if you told me that UVA was going to law school, I'd be like, "Oh, great, that's just public school." It's kinda like, going to IU, and it's not. It's not even close.
my dad thought the same. My dad's a lawyer, and he thought the same thing. He was like, "Oh, like, well, I guess you can apply to that as a safety." I was like, "It's the number four, right, in the U.S."
Yeah.
And he was shocked. Like most people just don't expect that. Well, like, that's kind of why like Harvard's up there for me. It was like, I mean, yeah, the legal prestige, but also there's something about being able to say you went to Harvard,
Yeah,
especially
I mean,
Harvard
it's
Law.
yeah, you've got the branding. The branding's down pat.
There's how many shows are there about just certain people
Suits.
in a profession
Suits.
from a certain school, like, right? Like,
S
there's
think
yeah,
about Suits. Have
yeah,
you seen
there's no
Suits?
other show. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like Suits is literally about a law firm where everyone's from Harvard or pretending to be from Harvard, right? Like, there's they don't have that. They don't have a Johns Hopkins uh like hospital where everyone's from that medical school and one guy's pretend like they don't have that.
Yeah.
Harvard Law is like the one, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's I just want to put it on my LinkedIn. I want it in my Instagram
Well,
bio.
and if you do get into that one, which if you're saying the interview went well, and I know your test scores, and I know you've done very well, and with your history, academically and professionally, if you get in there, that's just gonna open up any single door. Like anytime that you go out to apply and they see Harvard Law, you're at least gonna get the interview. It doesn't matter where you ranked or what your GPA was, as long as you went there, you graduated, you passed your bar, you're gonna get a job. You're gonna get an interview pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, and then all I have to do is not screw it up, which is the hard part. But
It's
you get
gonna be
past the
so
first
funny.
step.
It's gonna be so funny if you go to Harvard and then you just become a public defendant.
I'm just
That
gonna
would be
be
so funny.
not even public defender. I'm just gonna be one of those like personal injury lawyers on TV. Just
You're
the
gonna
guy
turn
with the
into
30-second ad slots.
Saul Goodman,
The American was it American Samoa? University of American Samoa.
American Samoa.
Go land
Absolutely.
crabs.
By the way, I just finished Breaking Bad. I know I'm like 10 years, 12 years late
You're
to that,
probably
but
close to 15 years at this rate, I think.
yeah, so I just watched it and finished it. It was good. It was very good.
Have you seen Better
I
Call
understand
Saul?
the hype. I started so this was kind of looped in. So I went on a trip recently to Hawaii, and between the long delays that we had and the time on the plane, I downloaded the entire first season of Better Call Saul, and I got through like the first 6 episodes.
So
It's
I'll
good.
say that I think this is a somewhat it's not unpopular, like people are gonna like get angry at this opinion, which first
Mhm.
great comment by the way. That's nice.
That
Um,
was crazy. Our
but
millions of fans.
but we I think Better Call Saul is a better show than Breaking Bad. I think
That's what people have been saying online. They said that the story is better. I mean, the story's more concise. There's not as much bloat. And what was the other piece? It's shot better too. Like there's just like very cinematic angles for a lot of the shots.
they learned a lot of lessons from Breaking Bad. I think like Breaking Bad's a great show, but like I think there were issues with like the pacing. It was drawn out in the middle seasons. Um,
Mhm.
I remember seeing this is like a tweet from years ago, but it was like some guy was like, "Yeah, I accidentally paused a Better Call Saul episode, and it was just Saul sitting there in his chair, and I watched it for about 2 minutes before I realized it was paused, and I just thought, oh, that's a really interesting cinematic choice."
Just him pondering in his chair.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I
What
highly
do you think
recommend you
Saul's?
you pitch that out.
I haven't gotten to this part yet. What do you think Saul's GPA was when he went to law school? You think he had a high GPA?
I I think he did well. I think he actually, I don't know. He does seem like just like a street smart kind of guy. But then again, like I think
Is
his
it something
university
where you
was like
just
an online school. I think it was like an
it was an
online law
online
degree.
school? Yeah, yeah. So he probably just did enough to get the degree, cheated his way through the bar.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going, well, I think he did it legit. I
I
won't
think he
spoil
did too.
anything, but I think
Like
he
I
did it
said,
legit. Yeah,
I've seen 6 episodes. I know nothing.
you're in for a
Anyways,
wild ride. It's like it's fun because the reason why I enjoy it because like one, the law thing is interesting to me, but like the first season is like just lawyering. It's like the
mhm,
first season's like Suits. The second season's like um later seasons of Suits where it's like kind of crime, a lot of crime involved, and then like by season I want to say 6 is like the finale season. It's Narcos at that rate. So
wait, there's 6 seasons of Better
I
Call
think
Saul?
it's I think it's 6 seasons.
Oh
By
my
the final one,
gosh,
but by the final one, it's literally Narcos. Like, and it's just fun, like to see that evolution. But
that's awesome.
your
Okay.
how was your trip to Hawaii though? You brought that up.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. You haven't been to Hawaii, have you?
Never been.
Okay. It was I don't know. It's the dream vacation spot. Um, so we flew into the island of Oahu, and we stayed in Honolulu, which is so I've been to Hawaii twice now, and Honolulu is more of the tourist section. So there's just a bunch of shopping and a bunch of tourist attractions and stuff like that. But it is where we stayed, which was like off of a place called Waikiki Beach. It's just nice. It's everything that you want a vacation to be. Everything's walkable. There's fresh food everywhere. While things were kind of expensive, they weren't like outrageous. Like I was getting fresh cups of like Kona brewed coffee, which is like some of the best coffee I've ever had for like $3. I was getting like spam rice balls
Mhm.
for breakfast. That's what I would eat for breakfast. It was like spam with like rice on top of or like rice underneath, spam on top. And I would get that for breakfast for like $2. You could go get a dozen donuts for like $15. So it was more expensive than what I'm used to in Indiana, but like not absurd. And there was just like stuff to do and things to look at and the ocean and you had mountains and there was jungles and you could go snorkeling and I got to see a couple sea turtles, which was really cool. But it's I think it's top 3 best vacations I've ever been on just because it's the weather's beautiful. It was 80 degrees the entire time in the middle of winter. Um, so really cool.
You know, I told my I got a buddy and as well my as my roommate.
Mhm.
One of my friends, he's proposing there during Christmas, and my roommate is getting married or having no doing their honeymoon out there in Hawaii. So and I was like, I asked the two of them. I was like, hey, like yeah, like my buddy Luke back home. He's also he just got back from Hawaii. Like, why is because I think there's a fourth too. I was like, why is everyone going to Hawaii? I was like, is it just super cheap right now? Because I think you told me what like two people a week was like $500 for you.
Um, so we had like a bunch of travel credits and stuff that we used as well. Um, all in all, so like to get there for flights and hotel, it was about $1,400 between the two of us. Or yeah, yeah, so 700 a person.
Yeah, like that. I think I told them that, and they were like, how the hell did he get that? Because they were both going for like a week each, and
Yeah.
I think my roommate said it's setting him back like 3 or 4 grand. Like,
Yeah, it could easily become that, especially if you stay in like the higher end spots. Um, we stayed at a spot that was about $150 a night. Like it was nice. It was like a 4-star rated hotel, but it wasn't like the fanciest thing ever. So it wasn't crazy. But I really just liked it because it was close to everything. It was right in the middle between like a bunch of food spots and like a 2-minute walk to the beach. So it's like we didn't have like we weren't overlooking the beach, which if you were to do that, that's going to be cost you like $300-400 a night. Yeah.
you see a lot of Navy stuff while you're out there. I know a lot of people out in Hawaii right now, but I know
Hmm.
you saw the Pearl Harbor
Went to Pearl
Museum or one of
Harbor.
those.
Yeah, and we went at a really cool time too because so the anniversary for Pearl Harbor was 3 days ago, and we saw as we were just kind of like walking around, one of our dinners was at like a really, really nice hotel, but we got reservations for one of the restaurants down below. But you have to kind of like walk through the hotel, and this is a hotel that's I think $1,000 a night or something like that. I was talking to our server, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, Beyonce came here like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and she was very nice. She's actually sat where you're sitting at now." I'm just like, "This is crazy," but as we were walking out of that hotel, we saw a bunch of like World War II veterans. So people like lower 90s, lower to mid 90s, and they were there to go for the service, uh, for the Pearl Harbor. Um, so that was cool. It was actually really cool just to like see World War II veterans still out and about.
I mean, I think there's a good amount where I am. I see a lot of
Mhm,
license plates. Um,
mhm,
I've seen a few World War II, just because everyone here's Navy and
mhm.
Army people. But no, that's cool. That's cool. You got to see that.
Yeah, and the memorial that they do is it's very good. It's not a tourist attraction. It's very much respectful of the people that died during Pearl Harbor. It felt like you were going to like a funeral, not a funeral, like a cemetery.
oh,
So like you walk in, um, and you have to like take a boat over to where the USS Arizona like got destroyed and blew up, and that was the ship that had the most amount of casualties on it. And at the USS Memorial, they have a list of all the people that died on the USS Memorial, the people that are like still in the ocean, like people that were like never recovered and never pulled out. Their bodies are still underneath the memorial, and you could still see the oil coming up from where the ship had sunk.
that's wild.
Yeah,
That's even what 80 years
80 years.
later.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. Like you know how like when oil meets water and it just does like a bunch of like weird colors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was still all right
still
below,
going. That's
still
crazy.
going. Yeah, but that was really cool. That was one of my favorite days.
I think we've had this discussion before. But like me and you both came to the realization as we got older. I don't know how you were as a kid, but when I was a kid and like my mom was like, "Oh, we got to go to this museum, we got to check out this exhibit or whatever," like I had no interest. But like now,
Mhm,
yeah, I think we had a discussion because when we went to when I hung out with you in DC, when I met up with you there,
mhm.
and that we were checking out museums and stuff, I was like, I think that's when I realized I'm like, oh, like I'm kind of old now. Like I'm a full grown adult because like I'm enjoying these like
It's just
cultural
fun.
things.
I used to be a terrible person to go to museums with because I was the kid that wanted to read everything. So you would get me in like a certain section and I would spend 20, 30 minutes just like reading each individual sign.
I
And
think
now
you did that. I think you did that when we went
I'm
to.
more casual. I'm more casual with it now where like I only read the things that look super interesting and I'll like make sure to read it.
Yeah, I remember me and you were both reading the what was it, like the Museum of like American, it was like American culture, American history or something. I just
Hmm.
remember that Toby Keith had his guitar in there.
He did.
But like yeah, I think we were just reading the interesting ones. But I think I remember like when we went to the, I want to say it was the natural history one. It was like
Hmm.
every single monkey plaque you were reading. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I mean, more me personally, like as someone who likes reading, it's kind of weird that I'm not the guy that reads the plaques. I kind of just like looking at the funny monkeys and the rocks. Like
Yeah.
that's the fun for me. But
I like looking at the monkeys and then also seeing like what like age they are or like what time period they're from and just like kind of like pinpointing it and be like okay that monkey's from like 1,000 years before this monkey and this monkey's like 2,000 years after that monkey and you can kind of see like the little changes that are happening and it's I don't know it's cool. I'm no expert by any means. I'm very much just a layman. I'm just like oh that's cool. They're growing.
you
Their
know what I
brains are
don't like?
getting bigger.
What I don't like reading though is or like seeing into what freaks me out is anything like deep ocean. I think like anything ocean related freaks me out.
Mhm,
Like I just when it's like, hey, like this giant squid was recovered this like these thousands of miles deep.
mhm.
It's 300 feet long. I
Yeah.
don't like knowing that that exists. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, when I was in Hawaii, we went snorkeling, and we were snorkeling over, like, a turtle cove where a bunch of turtles were living, And the first time I jumped, because I've been snorkeling before, but like the depth that I snorkeled before was like 10 feet. So it's like you could you were above the water, and if you were just like dive down a little bit, you could touch the ground. We were snorkeling in like waters that were like 30 to 40 feet deep. So it's like you could see the bottom, but it got started to get like really dark, and you could like see like rocks and crevices, and you're just like, I don't know what's under there. That's kind of freaking me out. But like I jumped in the water for the first time, and I looked down, and I had like a tiny bit of panic where I'm just like, dude, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed like I'm in dangerous territory.
The primal fear of like of the ocean is so crazy when it because like yeah, I think part of mine is I don't know if I ever told you this story. I think I want to say I was like 5 or 6 years old, right? Like, or even younger than that. I remember I walked in. This is long ago in Fishers, and I walked in, to my like dad's room, whatever. It was like the main, like the living room or something. And my dad was watching Jaws, and I walk in and I see the scene in Jaws where like the mangled body washes up on the beach, and then I just walked out. I wasn't really freaked out. I wasn't. I was like, that's kind of weird, and I walked out. And I think that like legitimately scarred me. Like it's still got lasting psychological scars on me.
You're like every time you see the ocean now, you're just expecting to see a body, which is really
I mean,
bad for somebody in the Navy.
yeah, well, which is great. You wouldn't expect how many people in the Navy don't know how to swim, by the way. It was there were like it was like half the people who were going on ships had to learn how to swim. They had to take remedial lessons.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild how many people join in. They're like, oh, like I never swam, but I want to be on a ship.
Are the swimming standards higher? Is that why
No,
they had to take remedial? Okay.
I think I'm a better swimmer than most actually. Like than most people, right? Like obviously, actual swimmers are gonna blow me out of the water. But like I can swim every normal stroke. I can swim for a while, a few hundred
Mhm.
meters.
You
But
know how to
like
float your head above
yeah.
water.
Yeah, like I know how to do like all the basics, but like there are these people that are like, yeah, I'm gonna be on a ship. I'm gonna go command a ship. And they like didn't they had to be taught how to like breaststroke. They had to be taught how to float. Like these people would just would
Mhm.
like climb up to this 5 foot. It was like 5 or 10 foot ladder, and like they'd freak out, and they just couldn't jump into the water. Um,
Oh, really?
but
That's
it's that
crazy.
but it's that primal fear, man. Like I mean, I yeah, I mean, I still have a little bit of it. Like I can swim in a pool, no problem, right? But like I remember I had an experience one time in the I want to say it was when we took a cruise as a family or somewhere maybe like North Carolina, something. We were snorkeling. I'd never snorkeled before. I snorkeled once, and it was this experience. And I was like, I know it's not like scuba diving. I know you don't have oxygen. I know you don't have air like that, right? I was like, oh yeah, it's a little tube. I went to the tube, and I like went down. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I can see the little rocks, little coral. And then I like dove down a little bit, and immediately the entire tube filled with water. And I probably drank like a half gallon of water in that moment and like almost threw up, and it was so that's my
Yeah,
experience with snorkeling. So I'm glad you had a better
yeah.
experience than me.
It's no fun, when you do that. I did that a couple times because there was, like, a weird looking fish, so I had to dive down, like, I don't know, like I basically just inverted my body, so, like, 5 to 6 feet down, so I just kind of put my head where my feet would be if I were just, like, kicking normally, and I did that kind of where, like, I sucked in, I'm just like, "Shit, there's water here," and I had to, like, blow out really hard and surface and cough and do all that stuff, um, but no, that'll I also learned that with the masks that you wear, they don't suction that well if you have, like, a mustache or facial hair. So, like, it didn't really matter how tight I had it, water just kept seeping into my nose. So,
Yeah, if you're ever in a
I
dangerous
I
situation
just
and
had
you
to,
need
like,
to,
blow out a bunch.
if you specifically ever need to put on like, uh, you ever have to scuba or dive or put on a gas mask, God forbid, yeah, I think you might be done for. Like that, my
Yeah,
mustache and the beard is getting in the way for sure.
it was killer. It was killer. Well, I had to shave my so I did, like, a fire observation a couple weeks ago. I just go in, put on all the gear, um, and I'm just kinda, like, watching fire recruits do their thing. And they told me specifically to, like, shave before, and that's why I'm kinda like no, I shaved a couple times since then, but, I had to, like, trim my beard because you're allowed to have mustaches as a firefighter, but you can't have your beard because that interrupts with the suction of the mask. Um, but yeah, fire ops are cool. You just kinda sit in a hot room and sweat, be in a really uncomfortable sauna for, like, 15 minutes.
And when we did because we did like a firefighting thing during OPS, and like, it's a simulated fire. They just blow up this fire. You all have this giant hose and put it out everything. And like, I remember I had no idea. This is gonna just sound stupid, like a stupid person thing,
Mhm.
but like I had no idea fire was that hot. Like, but, like, legitimate,
No, it's
that's the
freaky.
simplest
Yeah.
way to put it. Yeah, like, cause I was in, like, the full getup, and, like, it was already kinda hot in there, but, like, we had the tanks on our back and everything, and when I got we were moving up through the chain, through the hose, and when I got up to the front with the nozzle, I was like, "Dude, like, I'm handling this, like, I'm just barely handling this." I was like, "I have no idea how." And, like, I'm pretty fit, and, like, I was way more fit back then too, like, my cardio and
Mhm.
everything. I was like, these people are about to pass out." I was like, "At least one person's about to pass out." With how hot I
Yeah.
don't know, like, how close you were. Um,
The,
but
the the best way that I can describe it, because I do a decent amount of sauna work. It's kind of at the point where you sit in the sauna and you hit the moment where you're like ready to get out. You're like, okay, I'm getting like really uncomfortable. And there's times where I've pushed past that like initial discomfort, and you're sitting there and you're just like, no, I need to get out of here now or I will pass out. I was like that for a good 10 minutes where I'm just like, dude, I'm like anxiously uncomfortable and hot. I need to get out of here. Just panicking the entire time. And I had the full gear on. I had I had the tank and the gear and the mask, and like I wasn't even like that close to the fire. We were like multiple rooms away, but it was it's crazy hot.
it yeah, it's, like, the worst part of it, or, like 'cause I think the worst moment in the sauna is, like, the beginning, or, like, a wet sauna, you walk in, you can't really breathe, it's just it's muggy. It's like that, and you haven't acclimated to it. It's like that the entire time, and it
Mhm.
just gets worse. But
Yeah. You're like, okay, I really don't want to be here anymore, but now I'm forced to be here for like 10, 15 minutes.
that's cool
Helpful.
though. When I saw your picture that you posted, I was like, "That's pretty sick. That's a cool experience to
Yeah.
have."
So that was the first time I did it. And then I did it more recently, just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I didn't get a picture this time though. I wasn't that didn't really
Are
think
you
about it.
are you, like is it just, like, a for fun, like, with your company kinda thing, or is it just like a
Yeah, I was like I got like 2 hours off of work to go like watch some of the fire recruits do their thing. So like I got to see a lot of people that I had been working with, and that have been going through PT with me to go in and do their thing.
so you're going on a ride along next, right? With the cop?
I do need to go on a ride along at some point. And
'Cause I was about to say 'cause you work with, like I know you work with, like, first responders in general, right? I'm assuming probably some veterans, like, things like that, like, is it all
yeah,
mostly
so
first responders?
it's mostly so it's like most of our population is firefighters. Firefighters first, police. No, firefighters, EMS, and then police. We have the occasional military, but that's pretty much it. We don't really see any veterans too much. We just, or if we do see veterans, they're like active duty something out. They're active duty police or something like that.
Yeah, you gotta go see some action on the streets. You gotta walk the beat.
No, I don't. The problem is,
I'm scared.
I, yeah, I'm okay. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, I had a
The
I
people I would
remember
trust to ask to do that and to be like, "Oh yeah, like you're a really cool dude. I want to spend a couple hours with you, just kind of chit chat, watch you do your job, whatever." They work for the worst departments, like the departments that are understaffed and the people that are always getting in fights. And I'm like, I don't want to be in any part of this. You guys are always getting hurt. You guys are always getting into fights and tearing shit. And I'm like, I don't want to be in any part of that.
yeah, I remember, like, back in the day, if you asked me a few years ago, I probably would've thought it was cool, like, I'd do it or whatever, but I remember there was a guy I knew from high school, he was a year older than me, and, like,
Hmm.
I remember I found out in OCS, like, he got shot and died in Indy. You
Hmm.
probably heard about it actually. His name Noah Chanovez. It was like national news. Um,
Mm.
it was Elwood,
How long
I
ago
wanna
was
say.
this?
This
How long ago?
was 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like national news. Like, ever since I heard about that, I was like, "Oh," like, it was, like, just close enough to home, like, where I was like, I don't really have interest in the world." Like, I'm like, I have a lot of respect for the good cops that, like, are, like, actively doing that. I'm like,
Hmm.
it's not for me.
It's a hard job. It's one of the hardest jobs that I think like a normal person can do outside of like combat military. But like even combat military, you know where the bad guys are. Whereas like with your cop, you're bad guys could be anywhere. That
Yeah.
paranoia has to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine the PTSD that comes out of that is just as bad, if not worse, from because, like, I remember I think I talked to, like, a cop or fire like, cop, firefighter, EMS, like, those 3
Hmm.
that you mentioned,
Hmm.
or it might have been a story you told me, like no, I think it was a guy from OCS. Like, he told me a story, like, he's like, "Yeah, like, responding to, violent altercations or, like, when they're the first on the scene for, like, you know, um, and self-unaliving kind of thing. I don't want to get
Mhm,
flagged on YouTube.
mhm.
Like something like that. He was like telling the stories, and I was like, dude, I like just one of those. If I just showed up for one and just saw that, I was like, that would mess me up for good. I don't have the. It's not even the
Yeah,
stomach for it. It's just like the mental. I think I
yeah.
don't. Yeah,
You get crazy stuff like that all the time. You get the people that unalive themselves, you get really bad car accidents, and that someone's gotta take care of that, and it's typically the people that get there first. It's the police, it's the firefighters, it's EMS, it's, people that get stuck in houses as the houses burn down. You have to deal with the body afterwards. It's just like all of these people, it doesn't really matter what first responder they are, you will have, like, a traumatic event that will happen at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's more when. And that's why like the company that we work for has like a secondary company as well that does like a full mental health thing as well. So like we do more of the physical performance and just making sure that you can do your job. We also have a wellness component as well, which is really cool. So like um it's yeah, it's just a service that we provide, and we kind of do like initial screening. So like if somebody's coming in and they're just showing like signs of like unrecognized PTSD, we just like, hey, I know you're having trouble with some things. Here, take this card. Reach out. It's all the people that are there are former police officers, former firefighters. Um, so it's a really good resource that we have.
that's cool. I think that's something that I started reading. I don't know, kind of weird that I started reading this. It's not really applies to me. It's the body keeps a score, or whatever. Instead of just about
Mhm.
like PTSD and trauma and stuff. It's pretty interesting stuff. Like I'm grateful that that's not part of my life. That it's just awful to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like the people that have to go through it deal with a lot, and it's I don't know. There's some things that your brain shouldn't process, but it has to try to figure out how to do anyways.
I think that's part of what I'm like outside of just being grateful that like I'm like I don't have severe physical issues or like I wasn't born with like any like real genetic issues outside of my eyesight and my feet. Um, I think like just not having to deal with that, not having some childhood trauma or something like that. I'm like, I,
Mhm.
yeah, I got out pretty easy. I think.
You're a lucky one. You're a lucky one for sure. I feel like that's the majority of people have some sort of like trauma event that occurs in their life, whether that comes from like family or friends or significant others. Like that, it's bound to happen to more people than you think.
It always, I will say it always like because I do have sympathy for people that you know obviously I have sympathy for people that like actually go through stuff, but at the same time like
Mhm.
it's you know I remember having this like crazy imposter syndrome. I went to when I was at the last command, I went to like psych. I was
Mhm.
like, you know, it was when I first got to Virginia. I was like, I was just a little sad boy. You know, I just left all my friends behind. I was like,
Yeah.
just driving an hour and a half a day commute. You know, just coming back to an empty house. Remember, I went there and they were like, yeah, just fill out this intake form. You know, we'll be with you. We'll set up an appointment. And I looked in the intake form, and 90% of it was like, when was the last time you were exposed to an IED? When was the last time you were in like active gunfire? I was like, I feel like I should. I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like
You're like
this is for other people.
you're like, "I'm wasting resources right now.
Yeah,
This is
I
for
was like,
people that are" you're like, "I'm just kinda sad because I moved."
yeah, I think like I think on the form I just wrote like I was like NA, and then like oh like would you just describe yourself? And I'm like just kind of sad. Like like it was like yeah it is hard though because I feel like I remember hearing someone say like when kids talk about their bad experiences or you know kids will complain about school or you know bullies or how classes are going and like as I mean we're not even adults in that sense. We're adults in a legal sense, I guess. But like we
Mhm.
haven't gone through a lot of the bad stuff a lot of people have gone through. And by thinking about like, man, so those kids though, if you're thinking back in high school, like that is your world. Like that is the worst
Yeah,
thing that can happen to you. That girl breaking up with you, that is the worst thing that can happen to you.
that's the worst thing, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's talked about a lot where it's just like a lot of people's worst experiences, while they if you had to rank them, it's really not that bad, but it's the worst thing that they've ever been through, and so that's you still have to treat it appropriately and with respect and just be like, "Hey, I know this is a tough situation. I know your crush didn't like you, but it'll be okay. You'll be you'll survive.
I think our generation will do pretty well with parenting though. Like I think
See.
I mean I think so I was talking to Drew about this. I was like, I think I'm really happy with how our parents' generation did. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, like I know there's a lot of people who didn't have great experiences. There's bad parents, there's just bad family experiences, but like I think the approach was pretty good. Um, at least for our age group, most of us didn't grow up with just the internet just poisoning our minds all the time. We
Yeah.
grew up with the social interactions. We grew up with like enough discipline. Um, maybe our generation will struggle with discipline, but
Our
that might be
our
me.
generation at least got to touch grass.
Yeah.
I remember when we got internet, I was in middle school when we first got internet in our house, and I vividly remember what like life used to be like before the internet. I would literally just like I would run around house to house to see which of my neighbors had like kids so that I could hang out with them and play with them. Like kids of my age or about like a year or two older. And then like that's how I made friends initially. That's not always necessarily true. Like kids that I remember from school, like kids that like got dropped off on the bus, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you live over here. I'm gonna go run over there and go play for a little bit. And oh, it's getting dark out. Okay, I'll run back. Or like the parents would call my parents and be like, hey, can Luke stay over tonight? Oh yeah, sure. I don't think that really happens anymore. I could be wrong. I don't
I
know.
think
But
no,
I remember
I'd
that.
imagine it's super rare, and I think you're right. I think by all for all intents and purposes, it probably doesn't happen anymore. Like
Yeah.
not the way that we had it.
And I remember as soon as we got the internet and I started having the phone, and this was like middle school-ish, so like still like an appropriate time to like ride your bike or go over to people's houses and still do like fun, casual like kid hangouts. That pretty much stopped, and you just texted everybody. You just you talked to who you want to talk to. It didn't really matter if they were close to you or not.
Yeah, I think it was damaging enough just even before we had social media, even before we had, real internet. We just had phones, like just for texting and calling. And like I remember just texting alone, I think probably did a good amount of damage to like social development because like I had the same experience. As a kid, I had a family friend, our neighbor, that like basically raised me, and I'd be
Hmm.
like, oh, um, I would be like, oh, Elena's she's climbing the tree out front. I'm gonna go climb that tree for an hour with her,
Yeah,
or I'm like, oh, she's on the playset out back. I'm gonna just open their fence and walk back there and play with sticks.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that was like the thought process, and I feel
yeah,
like yeah, I think the imagination and just like I will say I think there is some truth to when people say our generation doesn't take risks or we're like a lot less risk taking. I disagree with the when they're like, oh, they don't go drinking or smoking or whatever. I'm like, yeah, all right, you guys are just being dumb and like finding little nitpicks. But in those aspects, I think like the social aspect of taking risks and going out and meeting people. I mean, we're guilty of it too. I'm significantly worse, I bet, by percentile of like approaching a girl and talking to her than people were 10, 15 years ago. Right. Like,
hmm,
because now it's like, I mean, you got the social media aspect. You got like, oh, this guy could end up getting made fun of on the internet or
hmm.
things like that. But also, you've just got like, I don't know. I just think the way you approach people is so different. It's like, oh, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get this girl's number. I'm gonna try to get her social media.
Yeah,
It's not like, hey, I'm gonna actually try to get to know this person and try to get like connect. I'm like, I'm just trying to get this number and then I'll figure it out
yeah.
from there.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, hopefully my 5 second riz of trying to get her number will win her over, and then I I can text her. I can, and then my riz through texting will get to her.
I
It's
don't
very
have to
slick.
talk to her in person and read social
Yeah,
cues.
yeah. Man, maybe that's why autism's so high. We don't have to use social cues anymore.
You don't think it's Tylenol?
Don't think it's Tylenol related,
Tylenol or Advil? I can't remember which one, but
or the vaccines.
autism alert.
Yeah, autism
Yeah.
alert. It's one of my favorite photos of all time. For those that don't know what we're talking about, it's a photo of Trump. It's happened on a news headline. I believe it was Fox, but it was a picture of Trump's face and RFK's face, and it just says autism alert.
Definitely. Oh, no, no, it's a autism announcement. That's
Oh,
actually
okay.
good.
AA.
Me sending a text into the group chat. But I oh, I had a thought earlier about as we were talking about first responders like actually doing work and things like that. This kind of a story bridging into a thought. Um,
Mhm,
I got a lot of buddies here that are like combat combat arms essentially for
mhm,
military. Um, and one of them was talking to me, and he was talking about how they were doing like because there's nothing really going like there's 1% of 1% of the
mhm,
population. So like 1% of the military, if that, probably less than that, is doing like actual real world stuff. Um,
mhm,
he was talking to me, and he was like verbatim. He was like, yeah, man, like we're doing this training, and then halfway through, I had this like moment of clarity, and I was like, dude, we're just LARPing. This is really gay. and I was like, and I was like, I mean, yeah, like I didn't say it, and I'd never make fun of you for it because I couldn't do what you guys do. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, you kind of are LARPing.
yeah,
I mean, like, and I was thinking, I was like, well, what? And it got me thinking of like, what is like even a real job? Because like for sure, I'm pretending, right? Like I like what I'm
mhm,
doing in the military. Like I'm pretending to be productive and be a part of. I, I'm glad that American culture is like talks about veterans, like sports veterans and things like that, because there are people doing real things. There are people who have done really good things.
yeah.
But then I'm like, yeah, but most of us aren't doing anything. And
Do you have, like, a sense of, like, imposter syndrome where you're just, like when somebody, like, congratulates you for being a veteran or being in active service, and you're just like, "Dude, I'm just on a computer all day.
I
I'm
mean, I
not
mean, yeah,
doing anything."
so I'd say it's 50-50, right? Because on
Yeah.
Veterans Day, I get my free meals. I get I get my free meals. I get my free Starbucks. I get my free haircut. But like,
Yeah.
so I've been in long enough to be like, okay, I've been in. I've done some work, right? Like I've like at least experienced some of the suck a little bit. So like,
Mhm,
I can say that. But yeah, like when honestly when I had that Harvard interview and he was asking like, oh, what have you learned in the service? Like, how's your time in the service? And obviously, I know how to answer these things, right? Like, I'm like, I can think through it. I can like spin some of them to like, play the law school angle, play the I serve my time angle. But like,
mhm.
as I'm giving the answers, I'm like, dude, like I haven't done anything, right? Like, and I think most people are like, I truly haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking. I was like, what? I mean, because like, I think a lot of the people in the military are just kind of not pretending, right? Like, not to like deceive anyone, but their
Yeah.
day to day, they're pretending, like
Yeah.
for a pretend
And
war.
that's the nice secret about the military. Like, if you're in the military and you're talking to somebody that hasn't been in the military about your experience, you're saying a bunch of stuff that they've never heard before. You're essentially speaking a foreign language. So, like, it really doesn't matter what you say, it's gonna sound impressive. You're like, "Oh, yeah, I helped this special unit do these things. I made sure they got the supplies they needed to be combat ready." And it's just like, all you did was order stuff on Amazon.
I
You
mean, like,
ordered coffee on Amazon.
I mean, we always had the joke, yeah, that like I was lucky enough to work with like combat units,
Yeah,
soft elements, and like we always had the joke, we like, yeah, like, but us, in our department, we order highlighters. That's our job,
yeah,
right? Like those guys shoot people. We order highlighters, and
yeah.
right,
And
like
you guys get the same Veterans Day discounts.
we get paid nearly the same. We get the same veterans status, right? Like, and yeah, it just got me thinking. I was like, what is like what do we do that actually is like real? Right? Because like I'd argue I always had this stance, and I think I talked about it with Khan back in the day. Like
Mhm,
finance, I think is like fake, right? Like I think a lot of that's fake. We're operating off numbers based off of numbers that are based off of money that's based off of nothing, right? Like
mhm.
and money hasn't been real since we left the gold standard. That whole thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was thinking, I was like, so few things I feel like you could consider real. I think medical you could consider like that's a real thing.
Yeah,
That's something real you're doing. Like, whatever it be, doctor, PT, like
yeah,
dentist, like
yeah.
you're really
There's a
impacting
cause.
people's lives and health.
Yeah. Yeah, something that has, like, a direct cause and effect, like, this thing happened, and this is the result, this is the impact that you had. You can make that argument for most jobs, but if the cause and effect is I typed in an Excel sheet and I made the company money, money's fake, so it doesn't really matter, that doesn't count. You created fake numbers for a fake person to spend it on yachts.
I guess like yeah, like I'm trying to find like where the line is, right? Like where we define a real job and something that's made
Mhm,
because like I think you could make the argument for like law for like, both sides, where you could be like it's real in the fact that it has real impacts on people, right? Like a
mhm,
prosecutor actually takes away people's liberties, right? Like when they commit a crime, or a defense attorney actually, like saves people from that. Um, but like at the same time, these are all like consequences of, hey, we've built up laws as a society, and we've built up punishments, and we've built up how it's worked. So it only holds up as long as society holds up as
Yeah,
real.
and you're like, and then you have the question of like, okay, who's determining these laws? Who's determining like the the morality of how a person should live in a civilization? Who decided that?
Who decided
People?
that?
Pe- Yeah. Yeah, who decided that? People? Random people? Who said that's the best case? What if I want to go out and murder everybody?
We're clipping that.
I am the decider.
Yeah, I guess it's just hard for yeah, because I don't think I ever would have done the medical thing, but I think like I've said before when I've talked to you, like I'm like I am
Yeah.
envious because you can really see the real world thing you're doing, right? Like I think
Oh yeah.
it's hard for most people outside of maybe like medical and like maybe like as law enforcement, firefighting, like the first responders. I feel like it's hard for people outside of there to like have, if you truly think about it, to truly believe you're making a difference in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I feel like I think general blue collar work, so like people that like fix roads and build highways and like fix cars, I feel like that's pretty real. Like, I don't know. There's a good in service. They're giving you money, and then that money you replace the tires on the car, you change the oil, and now the car is not going to explode if you run it another 5,000 miles. Like, I don't know. How do you determine real? What is real, Dave?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, is real? Maybe we talk about simulations. Um,
Oh no.
is well is do you think that whatever because we've talked about like I think last like 2 episodes ago or something, I brought up like suffering is real, right? Like that's something
Mhm.
that's real. But like if it were a simulation, or if it were just I mean if it is just a stimulus in our brain, that's all it is, and it's real to us, is that real? Right? Like it's the whole like I guess philosophy. I know philosophers have talked about this for centuries. Like I know this is probably beat to death, and I know nothing about it, so I'm just
Yeah,
BSing.
we can give our BSing lukewarm takes
We're, we're
about what
gonna
is
we're gonna
real.
work for we're gonna work for an entire episode and like barely cover the first premise of like the first philosopher's take on reality. But
Yeah.
I guess, do
I
you
see,
think
therefore
that,
I am. Woo!
yeah, I mean, do you think that like perception is real? Oh God, I hate that phrase. It's got a different connotation in the military. Um,
Yeah.
Perception is reality, like, and whatever you perceive as real, like that is like, because then you have other people. You could say like schizophrenics or people who hallucinate or things like that. Like,
Yeah. I wouldn't say so because like you can look at things like the um I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a little nerdy here. There's things like there's like a whole idea behind like pain and sensation, and what we use in like neuroscience is pain is believed to be an emotional response. Pain is a emotion. No, the wording is pain is an emotional experience, and everybody experiences it differently. So you can have the same 10 injuries impact this like the same spot in 10 different people, and people are going to respond differently. Um, and a lot of the times, that's just your nervous system is firing at different levels, and your perception is just really off and wonky. So I don't believe that the idea of the perception of something does not make it real because it can change so much from person to person. I think
so
perception
even
makes
like
things unique.
suffering, for example, right? Like going back to the
Yeah.
last thing we said, like you think there's an objective suffering and that like that,
I think no, I think there's a subjective suffering. I think everybody has suffering, but their suffering is going to look different.
is that real? Right? Like because you can say it's this stimulus or like suffering. You can say
Ooh.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
the failure to achieve something, that's suffering, but
yeah.
like it's it's this objective thing that didn't happen, but everyone's perception of it is different, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of what we were saying. Oh, yeah, we're going full circle, full Dave Chappelle. Um,
Woo!
it's it's kind of like when we were saying like like kids, right, in school, and they're like, hey, this thing that happened to me is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like, right, like truly it is the worst thing that's ever happened to them at that
Mhm,
moment in their life, right? So like that suffering to them is the most real thing ever.
mhm,
But like, so I guess I'm saying I'm fighting for the fact that like I think perception is what reality is, right? Like qualia or whatever, like, right? Like your experience defines reality.
mhm. Does it define your reality or everybody's reality?
I think that'd be your real. I think everyone. I think for there are as many realities as there are consciousnesses. Like I think that's
Okay.
probably my
So with that
take on
being
it.
said, does everybody truly live in their own world?
I think so. I think there's
Is everybody the protagonist in their story?
everyone's
Is
definitely
every
the protagonist in their own story. I don't know
yeah,
actually.
is everybody the main character?
Because you remember that picture where the guy was I think it was on Twitter. The guy was like, "Hey, this is me and Elon," and he had
Yeah,
himself as like Elon's sidekick, and the guy was like,
yeah.
"Dude, even in this guy's fantasies, he's not even the hero." So like, I think there are people who are objectively or view themselves as like a side character, right? Like I think I view myself as the protagonist of my life or
Mhm,
of my story, right? But like, I think there probably are people who see themselves as the the side character. Well, because it is hard, right? Because like it kind of goes back to the achievement and prestige and everything, right? Let's say you're a late 20s guy, um, you maybe you did a little college, or maybe you just did like a little trade school, and you're just making ends meet on the side. But then you run into
mhm.
someone from high school, and they're like, "Hey, I'm running for office because I was a lawyer for 10 years, and actually I'm a doctor too." And like you run into a guy like Johnny Kim, right? Like we've talked about
Love
him.
love
You
love
run
Johnny Kim.
you run into
My goal in life is to be a discount Johnny Kim.
I was talking to Derek about it, and I was saying that him and I are basically discount Johnny Kims, right? We're
Yeah.
Navy, but we're not Navy SEALs. We're not combat. We're if I mean like law is essentially seen as like a little less rigorous than medicine,
You're getting a fancy graduate degree. So you're
right?
in the
And
Navy, you're getting a fancy graduate degree, and
and
now
then
you just need to be an astronaut.
Derek said we should do geology. We're like we can't study rocks outside of Earth, but we'll just study rocks on Earth, and like that's the way
Yeah.
to
And
solidify
it's
a
really
discount
just
Johnny Kim.
and, like, your geology expertise is really just you going on different hiking trails. You're like, "Ooh,
Hmm.
this rock is a
Rock,
different color than the last trail that we went on."
yeah, but like I guess like to me, I'm like I could see how some people would perceive like a guy like Johnny Kim as like he's the protagonist.
Yeah.
He's doing the things, right? Like he's
He's done it all. He's done everything. I want him to run for president.
I wonder what his political takes are.
I wonder what he's doing now. Can we look him up? Do you think
I
he's got
think
a
he's like
LinkedIn?
I think he's active like I think he's on Instagram. I think the last thing I saw from him was like probably as well as on deployment, so it's like half a year ago. It was like him actively doing some astronaut training. Like he's just doing astronaut things.
I'm gonna Yeah, what do you think his political leanings are?
I think whatever his political takes are better than whatever we have going on right now in government.
That's probably true.
That kind of got me thinking too about another question. Kind of goes to reality is what do you think? So, so I think everyone can say that like the current political spectrum, like the current political environment, what politicians are doing, the whole Epstein thing, Diddy, like these things being revealed, Mossad, like everything, right? Um,
Mhm.
I think everyone's saying like, oh, this is crazy. Like, how is this happening? Like, this doesn't feel like reality. Do you think that how crazy it is and how unreal it seems is a better case for or against it all being simulation?
Um, let me think about this. I think it would be a case against, and I'm only going to say that because a lot of the stuff we're hearing is just because we have more avenues to receive the information, and we have more people telling their sides of the story, or more opinions about it online. So we're just seeing a lot more of the same stuff that's always been going on.
You think it's always been this crazy? It's just now we see behind the
Yeah,
scenes. We see
yeah,
behind the
it
curtain.
just yeah, just behind the curtain. Like the craziness has always existed, and it's always there. We just know more about it now. That's all.
Yeah, I guess
And I
I was
think
thinking about it.
that can drive people literally insane. But yeah,
I was thinking about it like as I was brushing my teeth 30 minutes ago, and I was like, well, because I could make an argument for both sides, right? I was like, how crazy humans are, and how we make these systems and these political systems. I was like, on one hand, there's no way that reality will be structured in this way where it's just this chaotic, right? It has to be a simulation where they're testing certain things. I was like, on the other hand, like it can't. There's no way it's a simulation. No one's making something as unbelievable as this, right? Like
yeah,
you can't simulate something as crazy as our current
yeah,
reality.
and yeah. Unless the simulation is just pressing the random button over and over and over again.
It's monkeys. It's monkeys
So,
typewriting all the way down.
oh no, not the infinite monkeys. It's always comes back to infinite monkeys on infinite typewriters.
Yeah. The-
And
if
we've chosen
you
the stupidest monkey on the stupidest typewriter.
he's just pooping on it. He's just pooping on the S key on the space bar. But how would you how would you react? Do you think if you found out definitive proof that none of this is real, it's a simulation?
Mm. If it's a simulation, what do I care? I don't know. I'd probably treat it like then nothing matters anymore. Everybody's an NPC in my mind. There's no real consequence to anything.
You just go killing.
Yeah. No, because like even though if you found out it was a simulation, by all means you understand that like there are still consequences to your actions. So it's
You're
like
still
yeah,
bound by the rules of the simulation.
yeah. It's not like you broke out because you found out about it. You're still in it. Maybe now it's now you go on a long conspiracy theorist quest to try to figure out how to break the matrix, how to get out. What
I
pill?
mean, if
I'm gonna be swallowing all of the pills. Red pill, blue pill, black pill. I'm swallowing all of them.
just take them both.
Yeah.
How would you? But at the same time, I feel like maybe to break apart the whole simulation thing, when people talk about like, oh, it's a simulation, wouldn't I don't think that's that different than if someone were to just say like, oh, it's a higher power that created a world, and like
Yeah, that's
you
why
could say
like
it's the same thing.
simulation theory really hasn't like okay, now you just have a different creator instead of like an all-powerful being as in like a god. There is now like some other intelligent design coming through and it's robots. Whatever. Hmm.
I
Robot
think
overlord,
you essentially just have a
god.
different name for God at that rate.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels the same.
Mm. The- I think we have about the same take on
Yeah.
simulation. I don't think I would. I mean, yeah. What can you really change it? Like that's kind of what I was getting at when I was saying like, is your perception reality? Because even if it's a simulation, even if you know it's monkeys pushing buttons, right? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't change the fact that you're stuck in it. It doesn't change the fact that you have to feel whatever sensations the monkeys program. Like
Yeah, it all feels the same. You might just work a little bit harder to break out, but are you going to work that hard?
major monkey overlords, I'd try a little bit.
How many hours a week would you try? Would you quit your job to meet the monkey overlords?
No, I think I'd give it like 20 hours a week. I think I'd work part time for the monkey overlords. It's just a passion
Part-time
project.
part-time monkey watcher, part-time monkey observer. Pray to the monkeys in the sky. Please write me a good story.
We watch the monkeys in the zoo, and they watch us in our zoo. That's
Oh,
that's
that's
poetry.
true. That's poetry right there. Wow. Incredible, Dave. Yeah. Infinite monkeys, infinite typewriters. Yeah, I'd probably what would I do? I'd probably just keep living life, not take it as seriously. Maybe I would. I probably would. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because the consequences to living wouldn't be any different because my reality remains the same.
We're all the protagonists of our own story. I'm the villain.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Villain for who? Who's your arch enemy?
Everyone. I
Everyone else? You
there's a
just want to
quote
watch the world burn?
there's a quote that resonates with me. It's some guy was like, um, "The world would be the world would be better off without me in it. Therefore, I must keep living. Therefore, I
Dave,
must
be careful.
persevere."
Dave, be careful. You're still trying to get into law school.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, look, if a
Dave, you're
law
the good guy
school,
in your story.
yeah, I'm the good guy. If a law school counsel is listening to this far, if they've put in the time, I'm not getting in anyways. So,
Dave, it's
hello,
not that hard. If they literally just look at your Instagram page and they're like, "Ooh, that's a link. I wonder what that link is," and then you press the link.
hello, Harvard.
I think that would scare them more than anything.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about speaking of God, I had another question. I just got a lot of questions saved up because I feel like it's been a while since we talked.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been a month.
I went to Fogo de Chao with a buddy of mine.
Oh yeah.
And in between our just shoveling down Brazilian steak and talking about
Was
brain
this a
rot.
cat? Was this a casual Fogo de Chao run?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny. We got these. They did these like coupons last time. So we went to celebrate him getting back from a trip, and they were like,
Mhm,
"Hey, you want to pay $5 for a $25 coupon? You can buy as many as you want."
mhm.
So we bought essentially $300 worth of these coupons. Um,
Oh,
so now we've got two or three free Fogo trips. Um, but we were talking there, and he was saying, I won't turn this into like too religion heavy because I feel like we've done that, but we kind of brought up religion in between talking about brain rot. Um, and I think he was saying something about like because I think kind of where I am. I'm kind of like more agnostic at this rate. Um, but he was saying like he's kind of in the same camp, but he would like talk himself into it for the
mhm,
sake of his girlfriend because he's proposing soon, and like
mhm.
she's like very Christian. Um, and I guess like this is the reality. This is the reality podcast. So we're talking about reality now. In general, because
My reality
that's
or
where we
your
went.
reality?
His friends,
Okay.
my friend's girlfriends actually. Um, but like, can you do you think that because like he was saying that I'll just have myself believe it, right? He's like I can suspend doubt a little bit. I can go to church. I can just even if I don't really think a lot of things are logically plausible, I'll just do it for the sake of the benefits, right? Because I think some of the argument that some people have about religion is that like it's just beneficial for people, right? And I think that's true. I think for a lot of people it's just beneficial. And I never try to like convince anyone otherwise of it. Right? What's the point if someone
Yeah.
believes it and it makes them happy? But he was saying like, oh, I can suspend doubt and believe it, right? So like, do you think that there's I won't say good or bad in that decision? Like, do you think there's a way you should approach it? Like, if you should you approach reality or should you like aim for reality and truth? Or is there something in just like not exactly deluding yourself. I wouldn't go as far to say deluding yourself, but like kind of just being like, I'm just gonna not think about it, right? Because I think a lot of people are just like, I'm just not gonna think about it and just be happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about blissful ignorance. I feel like I've said that in like the past 5 podcast episodes. Whenever you're just like, "Would you rather pursue truth or be a little dumb?" I'm like, "Blissful ignorance." um, yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's deluding yourself. Maybe it's saving your own sanity and like saving your own soul. Like if you're on an endless pursuit for knowledge and power and trying to find ultimate truth, good luck trying to find ultimate truth. You'll never find it.
Yeah, because I
And
mean, you do have like every philosopher, like Sartre, every philosopher who pursues truth and is super intelligent and like has all these
yeah,
thoughts, but they're all depressed. None of them have a great personal life.
yeah,
Like,
they're all sad. They're all
it never
sad.
turns out
Every
well for
single
them.
one. Yeah. Meet a happy philosopher. Good luck. There's probably a couple. There's probably a
But
couple
like,
like really happy ones. But
but like, I
I
feel
feel
like
like the
they're
vast
living in.
majority. Good.
I feel like they're living in the most real reality, right? Like, I think that the the s- I'm just going to use the term self delusion. I don't think like I'm not saying it's a delusion. I'm not saying everything that you believe yourself like when you kind of just don't think about things as delusion, but that's the best term to use. Um,
Mhm.
like I feel like the self delusion or the just covering up of those doubts. I feel like that's I don't know. Maybe I'm just very much like a truth and logic kind of centered person, but I
Mhm.
feel like it would be hard for me to live in that kind of situation. Like to be
Yeah. From like I guess a religious perspective, there's really just not a lot of answers, and you kind of have to let your and that's what faith is. Faith is like knowing that there may never be an answer to something, but still believing in it anyways. So like, there's a little bit of like I don't want to call it blissful ignorance, but it's just like coming to terms or coming to peace with like the fact that you there's answers out there that you'll never know, and that's okay. And you have to put your faith in something that everything's gonna be okay despite that.
yeah, and I mean like that's what I was talking to him like AJ, and I was like I'll mention his name. No one knows about him. And he and like we were kind of saying that um yeah I don't know like I think my problem is though is that I can't I can't rationalize like being given logical reasoning and like
Hmm.
critical thinking, like humans being a higher level organism and being given all this cognitive ability. And like to me, I'm like, oh, it doesn't make sense that the true reality would be just suspend all that and take a leap of faith.
Hmm.
Right. Like that's kind of my stance. Like it's not I'm not, making a claim or anything or like shitting on anyone else.
Hmm.
Um that's just kind of how I view it. But like I guess maybe for some people it's just not as important, right? Like what really is true is not as important as what you would prefer to be true, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe if you make your own reality, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you can go down a very like not like I don't want to say dark, but like if you're following truth, okay, you there what are the like the three truths? You born, you die, you pay taxes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, those are the three truths. Well, okay, what do you do in between all that? What do you do in between paying your taxes and dying? What do you do between living and dying? Like if those are the only things that are certain that are true, and there's no absolute truths outside of that, there's probably there's mathematical truths and scientific truths, but like that's beside the point. At the end of the day, what matters to you is like living and dying. And if the absolute truth is that you die, that just kind of then what's the point of life, huh? If you're just born to die, what's the point? And I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of hope and that people can get from uh, like religion and just like learning how to live their life, even though there is no absolute truth.
I mean, like I said, that's why I never like I was telling him specifically, right? Like I think me and you are very similar in our thought processes and like I think a lot of our value systems. But like I think one of the places we differ is religion or the spirituality
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Um, but I was telling him I was like that's why like I'd never be one of those people that like tries to argue atheism, right? Or tries to say like there definitively is no higher power, there definitively is no this, just because like it doesn't it doesn't bring me joy to like
Yeah.
I'm at peace
Also,
with
also good
I'm at
luck
peace with
trying
if
to.
there is nothing. Go
Also,
ahead.
just good luck trying to. There's it's about just as hard to disprove God as it is to prove God. Try and disprove God. Try it. Like it's
Yeah, I mean it's more of a preponderance of the evidence kind of thing. It's more like a what's more likely to me personally, right? Like I'm like it's to me it's more likely that some things in the Christian faith are untrue than true.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
but
and
also
that's fair.
at the same time, to me it's more likely that there is a higher power than not. Right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. And if you look at any religious text over time, it's translated a shit ton of times. Like we're not getting word for word recountings, and then we're also trying to trust people that lived in, or we're trying to interpret. Um, we're trying to interpret the language from dead languages, and then trying to understand the culture of what was going on at the time of people that have nobody's talked to. A lot of the recountings of like Jesus are set hundreds of years after the fact. So a lot of the stories that we hear are word of mouth stories. So it's more of, okay, we're not getting like the direct evidence of any single person that's saying anything. It's more of, it's a story of how to live your life, and here are the people that here are some stories on how people did that.
I mean, I think so. I will say, I know, I've brought this up before. I've said this
Mhm,
disclaimer 5, 6 different times. I know Jordan Peterson's been dragged through the mud a lot recently, for goofy things he's done on certain videos. But like, I think the take I did respond well to was, I want to say it was 12 more rules for life or something. But like, 'cause he's very adamant. Part of the reason why he got dragged through about not like claiming that he's a Christian or claiming that he believes a certain thing. Very wishy-washy on that. But like, he does have a thing where like, oh yeah, these myths and these religions and things like that stem from like morals, stem from how we want to see people act, and
mhm,
like they're still good for that reason. I think like I do agree with that. I think some people like like Alex O'Connor, things like that, like will make the stance that like, oh, religion has good, it has bad, or some people just say it's bad or whatever.
mhm,
I'm on the fence of like definitively believe for most people religion's a good thing. There are
mhm.
plenty of people I think who it's not good for, right? I think people who
Yeah.
believe they're special beyond everyone else and like things like that.
Yeah, and then you see it within the communities as well, where there's like a lot of judgment to those people that aren't as religious, or you get people that are super religious but still end up being very bad people. Just because you're practicing religion doesn't inherently make you a good person. Just because you know the scripture doesn't mean you live it in your life. And same goes to somebody that has never the good people that have never seen scripture, like or read scripture or understood it. But that there's it's more about morals and teachings and things that you can take away.
This might be a can of worms. How long we've been
Oh,
going? We can open it up real quick.
okay.
This is like a real can of worms, so we might have to revisit it at some point.
Let's open it up. Let's open it up and then close the top real
Yeah,
fast.
morals and ethics, right?
Okay.
Do you think they're objective? And like, as a religious person, do you think they're purely from like you can't be ethical or moral without God?
Are we considering morals and ethics to be different things?
Uh,
Or are you using them interchangeably?
I'm kind of using them interchangeably because I'm stupid and I've never understood how exactly they differ. Do you know
Okay,
the difference?
no, I'm saying that because I'm also too stupid, and I
Okay,
was just like, I
okay.
thought you're gonna be like, morally, can we do this versus ethically, can we? And I wouldn't be able to have like an intelligent conversation because I don't know. I use them
Like I said,
interchangeably.
we have one difference between us, and it's not our intelligence. That's very much at the same level.
Oh, sorry, ask that question again. Are
Yeah,
they
so
objective?
I did look it up. Morals are personal generally, and ethics are like external standardized codes. So let's say ethics, right? Like the
Okay.
standardized ways of how to live and how society should function. Like, do you think that
Yeah, there's
they're
probably like
objective or
there's probably like for biblically, like you could go back to like the Ten Commandments and be like, okay, those are probably like a good set of rules that most civilizations should follow.
right?
Don't
But
kill.
like,
Yeah.
I guess the stance is because I heard from I want to say it's like a evolutionary or ethical evolutionary whatever the term is. Basically,
Mhm,
like people who study how our ethics have been created through like evolution, right? Like so, like
mhm.
do not kill is like an ethical thing that's been developed because hey, we realized hey, if we kill each other, we're not going to survive as a little village, right? So like therefore that was ingrained in us. Or do not steal. Like hey, if we steal from someone else, they won't share their bison with us tomorrow.
But what if you have an enemy? What can you kill and steal from them? That would benefit you. That would benefit your society.
I mean, but at the same time, so it's all make a kind of point, right? Because I agree that like the in group out group, I think the in group has just grown larger as we've been more connected, and especially with like the global network and everything now. I'd make the argument that it doesn't really differ much with religion either, right? Like the do not kill thing. There's still
Mhm,
I don't know how you feel about this, but like, I remember
mhm.
like it's something that Alex kind of brings up a lot. like the whole God commanding a genocide thing in the Bible,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Old Testament. So
Yeah.
there is like precedent on, even from the religious standpoint, even if like God commands ethics and God creates ethics,
Hmm.
of hey, sometimes these things are, sometimes these rules are for us and not for them. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I hear that a decent amount, and I wish I had a good argument against it. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Damn, David owned me. He owned the
Oh,
liberal. God said start a genocide.
if you're so liberal, what is it like? Hey, liberal, if you believe this, then what? Whatever the turning point meme is, um, then explain this. Checkmate atheists. But like, I don't know. I guess I think it's very compelling what the I'm going to bring him up for the fourth time in the past 10 minutes. But Alex O'Connor, he brings up specifically like ethical emotivism, which is like
Mhm.
ethics basically are all expressions of emotion,
Yeah,
right? So like basically saying that like do not kill is more just like I don't like, or like ew, murder is bad, right?
yeah,
Like it's not, it's not this defined objective thing.
yeah.
And I think that obviously I think that's a bridge you just like, that's a gap you just won't bridge between like someone who firmly believes in God commanding ethics and someone who
Mhm.
doesn't have that belief. But like I think there's just, I guess it's that question of like, do you think that atheists can be moral or ethical? And I think that that's yes. I think that
Oh,
answer is
yeah,
definitively
yeah,
yes.
yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, well, I don't think yeah, I think a lot of what is deemed ethical today stems from religion. So I feel like you can live in a modern society that doesn't have any direct influences of religion, but has very indirect influences by the laws and ethics that we've created within our communities.
I think you could argue like in some like Asian countries, for example, like a lot of
Mhm,
Asian countries are basically strictly atheist, right? Being Buddhist,
mhm, mhm.
um, and like they still follow a lot of the same ethical codes. They're still like they
But
still
but
punish
what
murder,
but what are the religious teachings of Buddhism?
right? Checkmate atheist, you got me. I'm gonna come so prepared to talk about Buddhism next time. You better strap in.
And I'll just sit there and just be like, "Sweet."
I mean, yeah, but like, but that's kind of my stance though, right? Like, even if it's from like a
But isn't
Buddhist like teachings, right? It's still an
and
atheist standpoint.
Even in Buddhist teachings, isn't Jesus like a lore character?
Jesus is a lore character. Let me see. Is is Jesus a character in Buddhism? Um, is Jesus in
I
Buddhism?
could be making this up. I could
So Jesus doesn't exist in traditional Buddhist scriptures, but modern Buddhists often view him as like an enlightened being,
okay,
a great
that's what it
teacher,
is.
right? So like, yeah, I mean, I think so. I think there's a lot of general things, right? Like that, like when I talk about, I may be hesitant on believing Christianity wholesale,
Mhm.
but like I think there's a, I mean, I think I'd say most atheists even believe Jesus was a real person, believe he taught, like believe, like I think that there's like overwhelmingly most people believe that he was a real person.
Yeah, there is what call it? There's historical evidence that there's a person. Um, oh, I can't remember his Hebrew name. It wasn't Jesus. It was something else. Somebody. I should know this. I feel so bad. I've not, been going to church all my life. I should know this. But yeah, somebody with the name of Jesus that lived in that time that supposedly died at some point, died via crucifixion.
Mm. Yeah.
Actually,
So
I think that's contested, but there was a person that lived in that time that had that name that had a following of some sort.
oh, is that because I thought even like atheists believe like there was a person named Jesus, like there's a person Jesus who taught and was crucified by the Romans. I thought that was like generally what
Oh,
was accepted, and
maybe.
then
I
like
just knew I might be switching, flipping parts of the story, but like, yeah, that could be it. I'm no expert,
yeah,
no religious expert.
I don't know. I guess, but like even when you take like Jesus' teachings into account, right? Like, or if we're talking like Buddhism, right? Like, it's still like an atheist religion or
Yeah,
atheist school of thought or whatever, right?
yeah.
So, but they still let's. I'd imagine they still teach a lot of the same ethical standards that like Jesus spoke about, and like that a
Yeah,
lot of people view as.
there's just like general things. Look up like, is there like a 10 commandments of Buddhism? Are there like a list of like rules that
It's like I think it's like rules
are
of
there about
suffering or something.
are there a bunch of shall nots and shall dos?
I mean, I, I guess like overall, what I was like getting at is more just the fact that I think that ethics and stuff like I think that they can be maybe I'm changing my thought. I think ethics are objective and real,
Hmm.
based on our standard of reality, which is concrete, and we will not hear any objections. Um, so,
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's definitely like a few things that are relatively concrete that's just agreed upon among society of like,
but yeah,
hey, don't do that. This is bad.
but I guess my stance is like I'm not compelled by the argument that I'm not saying you've made this argument, and I know like a lot of Christians probably would, some Christians wouldn't make this argument, but I'm not compelled by the fact that like ethics only come from a higher power, only come from God. But I think ethics come
No.
from how we function in society and what benefits us as a society or us as a little village, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I think our modern day ethics stem back historically from a lot of our civilizations being very religious at certain degrees of its evolution or stage. And those little bits of pieces, whether they be like laws or culture customs or things that have been considered taboo, have been passed down generation through generation. And some of it has remained consistent and some of it hasn't been. Um, but I think, yeah. So I think there is some, I don't know what they are. I would have to cross reference the religions and history, but there's probably a bunch of things that are universally bad for 99% of people that have ever lived or that have been deemed bad. Like one would be like murdering a person you don't know. There's nothing to gain from it.
Well,
Probably.
well, I say murdering someone. Maybe I should shut up. Maybe Harvard's listening to this. Um, I don't know. I think murdering someone you don't know could be seen as
How?
ethical in some senses.
How?
Let's say self defense. Some guy breaks into your house. You don't know
No,
that
no,
guy.
no, 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 no. Person you don't know, stranger, just minding their own business. They're having a picnic.
Let's say starting an interaction with murder. It's starting starting a social interaction with murder is probably bad.
Objective truth one found.
If you walk up to someone and your first intent is murder, probably bad. That's
I
our
think
ethical truths.
that becomes a you issue.
Yeah, I think you become the bad guy in that sense. Probably not on the other guy at that rate.
Probably not on the other guy. I don't think he would be considered an enlightened being.
Let's develop illogically ignorance tenets for life.
Dave, do
That's
you want to
that's
start
the
a
first
cult?
one.
Do you want to start a cult?
We
Since we're
already have
talking
talked
about
about creating a commune.
since we've already talked about the commune. Now we just got to get the religious aspect to it as well. We got to get our rules. We got to get our teachings. Got to get our religious scripture out.
Are we putting like polygamy into our rules? Is that like a? I feel like doesn't every cult have polygamy? It's not a thing.
Yeah.
Is that
We should just
required for cults?
Just I'm just gonna call up Jared Leto for some consulting ideas.
Is he a cult guy?
He's a cool guy.
Oh, 30 Seconds to Mars kind of just took a dive for me.
Yeah.
I knew he had some issues, but I didn't know he was a cult guy.
Oh yeah. There's a
We,
reason why he grew out his hair and started to look like Jesus.
we can talk to Tom Cruise also. Scientology probably has some overlap.
Yeah. So yeah, they're their own thing.
I'm gonna start trying to look like L. Ron Hubbard. I don't even know what he looks like.
And write really bad sci-fi books.
Is I don't know enough about these things. I just keep throwing out people's names, and he read sci-fi books.
Yeah, he before he became a leader of Scientology, he wrote really bad science fiction books.
Oh, a prolific writer of pulp science fiction and fantasy novels.
Bad science fiction books. And you know what he did once that stopped working? He started Scientology.
Started a cult. Oh, did you know he was in the Navy in World War II?
Yes, and there's photos of him that have he's, like, got a comical amount of, like, medals. Things that just don't exist.
World War II Victory Medal. Hmm.
Just
As with
type
many
in
other
LR,
aspects of L. Ron Hubbard's life, accounts of his military career are much disputed,
meaning he had a job like you. He has all these medals, but
but
did
did
nothing.
nothing. Did nothing with it.
That's not true. You've done a lot. You've done a lot. You did more than L. Ron Hubbard, most
I don't know.
likely.
No one will know. Maybe he was a war hero.
Maybe. Maybe he killed his entire troop. You don't know.
We have to take that leap of faith on L. Ron Hubbard.
We're
You got
gonna
anything
we're
else?
gonna we're gonna leap into our own cult is what we're gonna do.
We're gonna be the first guys to start a cult and believe it, and then we're just
we fall we fall into our own cult trap.
it's gonna be Jonestown, but it's just the two of us.
Alright, I'm ready. I think we can do
Yeah.
it.
Once we, I think once we hit 30, that's the commune start, and
Yeah.
then we're dead by 32.
If for whatever reason, we don't have kids and neither of us are married, cult cult time.
It, I think it would be really. I think I genuinely think if both of us were writing like the tenets for this cult, I genuinely think we could convince each other of it. Like I think we
Uh,
would be in a vicious cycle of convincing each other that it's right.
how do we find members?
We just scroll down the illogically ignorant subscriber list and just send out
Our
emails.
millions of fans.
Yeah, our millions of fans. We've pissed off millions of fans with your Scientology talk. Dude,
I'm
we
gonna
pissed off Demon Slayer fans, and now Scientology's next.
that's
Now we got to talk trash about Taylor Swift.
easy. That's easy.
Yeah, that's an easy one. We can save that till next time.
Spoiler, she used to date kids that were underage.
Is that true? Oh, that is true? Oh, nice.
She was like low 20s and she would date 16 to 17-year-olds.
Well, in fairness, in Indiana, that is the age of consent.
Boo. Boo. Bad look, boo.
Bad luck for me defending that, by the way. Um,
Yeah, public
yeah.
defender. It's in your future.
Uh, I'm David Rao from the American Samoa University. Go land crabs. Right. You
Do
got anything
they
else?
is
Oh,
that actually a law school?
no, 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 no. It's made up. Um,
That would be so you should have applied there just to
but
get
people
the
have.
email.
I've seen shirts. Maybe I'll wear one to my first day at law school,
You totally
University of
should.
American
That
Samoa.
would
I
be
feel like
so
that'd be
funny.
really funny.
Everybody's all dressed up and you're just wearing a you're wearing a land crab shirt.
Is that? Let me make sure that's their. Yeah, go land crabs. The University of American Samoa's law school mascot, the land crab.
100% get that.
There's a lot of shirts. There's a lot of shirts. I'm gonna get one.
Good looking ones.
They look alright. They look like like every university shirt. Got a little logo.
You need to wear that shirt and sit front row your first day.
Yeah.
You'll have
I think
friends immediately. You will have friends immediately.
that's true. I feel like that's a better bet than like referencing any other piece of media. I feel like you're gonna be like the weirdo if you like talk about Suits. Like if you talk
Yeah.
about Better Call Saul, I think you'll be a popular guy.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be people that you'll actually wanna talk to.
Yeah. You got anything else for today?
No, that's it. I've gotta what am I doing after this? I'm gonna go shower, and then I've got a little bit of work I gotta do. Ooh, I
Actual
love
work?
taking work home. Yeah, I love taking work home. It's busy season right now, so I just have some extra work.
Funny imagining like working from home as a PT. Like you're just texting people like, okay, now move in this way.
Yeah.
I know
Like,
it's
if I
like
did
paperwork,
telehealth,
but
telehealth would be crazy. No, it's just finishing up some documentation because it got a little hectic today.
I never bring work home. Once I'm off the clock, I'm out.
That's yeah, that's what I wanna be. That's the dream.
One day, when you're your
One
own
day,
boss,
one day more.
when we own our own commune.
Oh gosh, yeah, we got what? We've got communes, we've got cults, we've got businesses. Dave, we're gonna start a multimedia empire.
We'll call it multi-level media, MLM. And then we'll sell tea and essential oils. That'll be how we
We're
fund our
set.
cult.
And then we have to get people to join in and then give them better pay based on how many people they can get in.
Their friends can make so much money.
My friends can't yeah, there's infinite opportunities. And the more friends that you invite, the more money you make and the more money they make.
First person you see on the street, and no, never mind, I'm not saying that. It's gonna go back to our first commandment. Um, yeah, I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, you got anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. This is Illogically Ignorant. We'll see you guys next time. Go Land
Later.
Crabs.
Go land crabs.